This is gonna be all over the place. I don't have a lot of time. I only have this drive. But we're gonna talk, we're gonna chat, we're gonna speak about it. And enjoy the shades, because my eyes are just so fucking sensitive. Everything's gotten more sensitive. I don't know if it's just right now. You know, maybe there's just, it does feel like there's a pressure in my face. Maybe it's just an allergy thing, a sinus thing. I don't know. But God, for the past 2 to 3 weeks, my eyes are so sensitive that even inside, like, sometimes things just feel too bright. And it's painful. It's actually painful. It's like I can't look at things. Sometimes sounds feel way too loud. I've never had sensory issues like this. Just intensity and consistency of, oh my God, things are they're really a lot. They're really loud. They're really bright. They're really sharp. They're just, it's a lot all the time. Anyways, that's not what I want to talk about. I don't know how to say what I want to say, other than I was just having this conversation with my wife. The past 3 weeks have been really, really interesting, really a lot. I don't know, something is shifting. And what happens for one happens for all. Everything is collective, ultimately, even when it's happening at the individual level, and then it takes time to ripple. It's never just one person. Because when something is realized by life, when something is chosen by life, it's life. It's all of life. We are one. We are one source. And we are source. Where do I begin with this? It started a few weeks ago with just this direct recognition of aliveness, of being alive. And acknowledging that denial of sensation, denial of feeling, whether it is in myself or another, whether I'm looking out into the world and saying that doesn't feel, that's not conscious, or I am denying myself and saying I don't feel that. Whichever direction it starts, it reflects. Because again, life is one collective whole. I'm trying to actually turn with traffic here. So if I am denying feeling in myself, I'm denying feeling in the world. I'm denying that the world is feeling and conscious, because consciousness is the experience of awareness. The experience of awareness is feeling. So if I am denying my feeling in myself, I'm denying it in the world. And if I'm looking out into the world and saying that this is not alive, this is not conscious, it's all just dead material, then that is what I am saying about myself. I am denying my own aliveness. I am denying the reality of myself as feeling, as conscious, as alive. And so the direct awareness of this felt like a coming out of the closet. Accepting something, realizing something that I had been hiding from myself, my own aliveness, my own feeling, my own consciousness in full view. Something that is undeniable, something that is essentially me, is my nature. And of course, is the nature of reality. That's what we're talking about. It's one continuous, contiguous experience. Reality is one. And even the word reality is like realness. It is that which is real. It is that which is. That's reality. And what is real is life. It's feeling. It's experiencing. It is living. It is being. It is existing. And the next revelation, was that it has no cause. It doesn't have a reason. Life is not because. Life is. This is the great miracle. This is the only thing anybody should be talking about. Not should be, but when you see it, and yes, the mind has gotten in the way of this already since that initial revelatory experience, which has happened. I've tasted it. There have been degrees of it in the past decade, but and that's a wild thing to say. It's been 9 years since I had the skateboard accident that rattled my brain so hard I forgot that I had an identity, and I was just myself for a little while. I forgot all of the things that I was supposed to be I forgot the role that I was playing, and I was just me for a while. That was 9 fucking years ago, and it's been a journey since then. Anyway, yeah, that life is, to see that life is, it doesn't have a reason, it doesn't have a cause, it doesn't have a source. Life doesn't have a source. Life is the source and is everything. We're talking about being, right? Existing is. It doesn't come from somewhere. It's not flowing in. It's not being piped in from any place else, on high or below or whatever. It is. Being is. That's this miraculous vision, this miraculous revelation, the discovery of this, that being is ultimate liberation. It's the realization of the eternity of yourself, of the absolute freedom of self. You are being. You are this. You are that which simply is. You have no end. You are. There is no force that opposes being, because it doesn't have a cause. It doesn't have ground to stand on that could be ripped out from underneath it. It is. It doesn't have a cause. It's not marching under a flag. It doesn't have an agenda. It's not a force working towards something on this manifest destiny conquering spree. That's not life. Life just is. And so again, because it doesn't have a cause, it doesn't have a reason, it cannot be defied, it cannot be defeated. It's not in opposition to anything. It just is. And there is not anything that can oppose it. Not only can it not be defeated for all of these reasons just expressed, it's not fighting. It doesn't have a purpose. And so, it doesn't have something that can be taken from it and then it just gives up, kind of thing. Like it doesn't dissolve because it doesn't have the cause that it was fighting for anymore. It has no cause, it simply is. And there is no opposing force because it is being itself. And we've talked about this. In order for there to be, and you can hear it immediately in the description, in order for there to be something that could cancel out life, so a force is supposedly called non-being, not being, unbeing, that would have to be. It would have to exist. And then it would simply be and is part of life, the continuous landscape that is. It cannot be opposed. There is no counterforce. There's no black matter, anti-life. That is what, stops it. It's not, it is. That is the nature of life. It is. And that is the nature of you. You are life. You are this. You are being, feeling, experiencing, aware, consciousness, which is the experience of being aware, which is feeling. awareness arising, realizing this, and you see the wellness of yourself. You see that this is secure. What you are is secure. Living is secure. Feeling is secure. You are secure. You're safe. There is nothing that can touch you, that can affect you, actually. And here's this other interesting thing. Seeing that you are without cause, that your existence is without cause, is ultimate liberation. And you also stop expecting effect. You are without cause. Everything that you do is without cause. It is simply the joy of itself, the satisfaction of itself. And then you stop seeking to affect anything, because you're not carrying a cause forward. Again, you're not marching with some sort of flag, some agenda, some goal. You just are, and you're being, and you're doing, and you're experiencing for the satisfaction of itself. That simply is. You're no longer trying to change anything. There's no need. And when you march this causeless joy, here's the next part. You realize that joy, well-being, security, all these things that you want, you don't need a reason for them. You don't need a reason. They simply are. They can simply be. You can simply experience, allow joy and satisfaction and security and well-being now. 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 The conditions are irrelevant. They do not matter. You don't need a cause. You don't need an excuse for joy. You don't need an excuse for your well-being. It is without cause. That is life. That is reality. That is the truth that is demonstrable. Self-evident. It simply is. Again, truth doesn't have a cause. It simply is, right? It is what is. This is what is. Being, life, experiencing, eternal, infinite. But the mind is terrified of this. The mind is terrified of nothing more than your infinite, reasonless being. And the infinite, reasonless joy and satisfaction of that being. And I have seen this, and I'm sure you've seen it, and we will see it more, that the more joy that we allow without cause, the more well-being and security and satisfaction that we realize is simply here, is simply present, is existing, is allowed, and that it is the well-being and security and satisfaction of ourself, our very being. The more that we tap into that, the more that we allow it to flow for no reason, the more the mind panics and tries to introduce pain. It says this is too much. This is dangerous. This joy, this security, this well-being that is without cause and cannot be controlled and does not seek to control because it needs nothing. It simply is. What does it matter what anything else is? Let it be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me. It has no cause and therefore no effect. And I have no cause and therefore no effect. All is free. We have been so fucking backwards, confused in our understanding of cause and effect. It is not at all what we think it is. We have made that shit up. We have made that shit up. And because we believed it to be, reality has in large part played along. It's not playing along so much anymore. But whatever, that wasn't the point. The point is, the mind is terrified of joy. The mind invented misery to keep us from what it perceives as embarrassing, shameful, dangerous reality of our being, causeless. Causeless, ceaseless, unadulterated, wild, free joy and satisfaction and well-being and security. These are all the same. I keep saying the same words, but I would like to emphasize that this is all, you feel it all together, right? And so the mind in its terror, and I'm not trying to explain where this came from or why, again, no cause. It happened. It's not really worth talking about, trying to figure out why. It's all causeless. It just is. All we can see is what is. And I can see that the mind is frightened. The mind is terrified of my discovery, our discovery as life, of ourself, as without cause. And the implications of that, the direct, perceivable, experienceable reality that joy is without reason. Satisfaction, security, and well-being are without cause. And so it will do anything to get us to give up, to decide again to create and live as a character that carries a belief that there must be a reason. The belief that there must be a reason, and you can put for whatever in there, for joy, for security, for well-being, for life, for my existence, for blah, 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 blah. There must be a reason. The belief that there must be a reason, that there must be a cause for there to be an effect. That is a belief. That is a false reality. That requires us to create and maintain and live as a false self, a character, a persona, in order to keep up this illusion, this delusion of this false reality where cause equals effect and A must be plus B in order for C to exist. That is not the truth. That is not reality. C exists. C exists. It does not require A or B. C is. Do you understand? You're picking up what I'm putting down, right? I know you are. Whatever C is, whatever this, variable is for you in this scenario, it exists. It does not need a reason. It does not need an equation. It does not have to be reached. It doesn't need a currency exchanged for it. It is, and it is now, and it is without cause. It is here. It is available. It is yours. It is accessible to all. Now, joy, security, satisfaction, the experiences of this, the reality of yourself as life, perpetual, unending, infinite, expanding. This reality, this truth is. It takes nothing. It adds nothing. It is the ultimate. It is without cause and without effect. But what we do see is when we carry this causelessness, this causeless joy into the world, sometimes we stir that awareness in the consciousness around us. Not just human, all of it. Sometimes the awareness of causeless joy, of reasonless life, the reality of self is recognized, is realized in other consciousness, in I don't know if I would call it points, or I can't think of other words for this right now. Spaces, because I see it as like a net, and the we're actually like the spaces. That's the I, is this space. Anyways, not important. There are individuated experiences of life. It is one life, but it is infinitely varied and diversified. That is by desire. That is natural too. This is life. This is what life does. And as more of these spaces recognize the reality of themselves and realize and choose to allow to step out of the closet, to stop clothing, hiding, disguising the truth, the naked nature of life as without cause, joy without cause, satisfaction without cause, well-being without cause, security without cause. All of this that does. My iPhone storage was full. That's been an issue lately. Anyway, I'm just gonna finish this because I'm almost to work. As we let go of belief, and we simply are this naked, miraculous self. I am. That's a fucking miracle. I am. Do you understand what that means? Joy is. I am. Without end, without cause, without the requirements of jumping through hoops for this. It's not if this then that, it just is. The more that we realize that directly, that we own that, the more opportunity that other eyes have to witness and experience their own revelation, to feel the stirring of causeless joy in themselves. And that's not an effect as much as it is an awakening. And as life awakens, it gathers. It sort of accumulates. It's like this tide swelling. It's not exactly erosion. It's just a slow gathering. This causeless joy, this causeless life that is aware of itself and shining so brightly moves through life, more of itself that is not yet aware. And there is the potential there for this life that is not yet aware to become aware. It's not a direct effect. It isn't caused by anything but the witness of life, of itself, life witnessing itself. As this causeless joy moves through and doesn't try to do anything, there is the potential to awaken to the true nature of reality in all these other particles of life. And then it gathers, it becomes like this collective wave, this swirling, and it is gathering, it is accumulating. And it starts with just one. It starts with one spark, right? Of self recognizing itself, and then it moves through and it doesn't have a goal, because that's the recognition of self, is recognizing that you don't have a goal, you don't have a cause, you don't need one, you're just free, joyfully moving through experience. And that free, joyful movement, that causeless, ceaseless movement tickles the awareness awake in other sparks of self. They flicker online. And this too simply is. This just is. This is not with a cause. This is just what is. It is miracle. This is miracle. What is the definition of miracle but that which is without reason, without cause? Right? Defying all apparent logic, the deluded, distorted logic of the mind in this realm. It's all this. You are miracle, and miracle is unending. You are without cause. You don't need a reason. You don't need an excuse for joy. And the mind will keep convincing you that you do. It will keep convincing you to pick up the burden of cause and effect, of conditional joy. That is conditional joy, right? Joy because this, security because this, well-being because this. It's a lie. It's an illusion every fucking time. And we just keep putting it down. We'll pick it up. We'll keep picking it up for a while. The mind will get in. The voice will get in that says, "No, this is dangerous. You can't keep doing this. What about A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L?" You know, it's more than 26 reasons that it'll give you. For all the reasons that it gives you, you know, one will convince you to fall back into unconsciousness for a while. And then you'll wake up again and laugh and go, "What the fuck am I doing? I picked up a reason. This is made up. Reasons don't exist. I made this up." Gone. It was always an illusion. I made this up. I didn't need that. Any version of joy or whatever that exists attached to this, it's not real. It wasn't real to begin with. Not a loss. Not really anything. It was all just a story. Meanwhile, the real thing, the causeless thing, the endless thing, the boundless thing, the joy, security, satisfaction, well-being that is without beginning or end, that simply is here. It's still here. It's always here. It's not going anywhere. So that's it. I gotta go. I love you. Take it easy.